Welcome to A New View. We are Restored Ministries, and this week we're talking motivation. That's a big subject. So we hope we can break it down for you, give you some tips, and be sure to share your view with us on A New View. So motivation, what do y'all think when you think of motivation?
I feel like I've been probably social media and everything has been steering a lot of the direction of my thoughts lately. So I'm going with motivation for interactions. And I guess that can be anything, not just like social media. But I had a glitch on my Facebook the other day, and my daughter was joking that it's because I'm old, but it wasn't showing me what likes or somebody was angry or if it was a love or what. It just said 4 reactions. 103 reactions, and I was like,
That's
so
interesting.
deflated. But she didn't either. She thought it was just, I'm sure it was something I did because it went away the next day. But I thought, who would ever want to interact if you didn't know what the reaction was? And so then, of course, I have to go a little deeper with it, and I have to go, what's your motivation? I've said before, what's your motivation when you get on Facebook? I'll get on to find something specific, and I will get distracted, and 3 hours later, I'll shut off Facebook, and I will not have figured out what I had done I was supposed to be doing. So what's my motivation for getting on, and is that something that serves me? Every time you go to like or comment on somebody's something, or even interject in a social, actual conversation with real life people, does it serve you? What is your motivation, and does it serve you?
Okay. Well, I was thinking motivation, just a simplified tool, the simplified definition, as you can tell, we're live here, the general desire or willingness of someone to do something. So it's your desire or your willingness to do something. That's the motivation behind anything you do, I guess, really, for that. And so I found this great little article by this guy named James Clear. He makes it very clear on this, that nearly all friction in a task is at the beginning.
That makes sense.
So he says, like if you want to do something, you got to have what he calls like pre-game routines or rituals. I like pre-game routines because I just don't like the whole ritual thing. I think of religion back and, those types of things. So, and he even goes on to say in this article that the work of very top creatives, like people that are ultra creative, either singing, artists, writers, things like that, they all have a pre-game routine. And so he broke down just a few, like, if you want to exercise more consistently, how could you do a pre-game routine to increase your motivation and things. So he was saying, do the same thing every day. That was kind of his suggestion. But I thought for myself, I know years ago when I was a runner, to make sure that I got up to run or to go exercise, I slept in my exercise clothes. And that motivated me to, of course, get up. I was already ready to go and hit the ground running. And so he had, if you want to become more creative, maybe do something before you get into creating, whether it be art or writing or something like that. And then he went on to say too, like if you want to have a stress-free day, then your pre-game routine would be, this is how I start my day, maybe in some quiet time, maybe in, just some quiet reflection or devotion or prayer, things like that. And then, of course, to sleep better, we're going to have a power down routine at night. That's our kind of routine. So kind of like that whole saying that says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So I think motivation, that's the willingness to do something. That's the bottom line, is what motivation is. The willingness to basically do something. We've got to plan. We've got to have a routine. We've got to have an intention. Why am I going on Facebook here? Why am I, what am I doing here? Do I just have time to spare, or was I going to look for something and I got, squirrel, distracted?
Well, I had a whole bunch to say, but I'm not going to say that now because I want to say something different. So for me, I was just thinking about while you all were talking, that sometimes I have to look at people's motivations when I'm hurt.
Yes.
Because I think sometimes I get hurt because someone forgets to do something, or one of my children, I'm let down in some way, and I have to always go back to, what was the motivation? Like, were they trying to hurt me? Were they trying to make me upset? Were they trying? And if that wasn't the motivation, then I have to go ahead and say to them, I understand. And then for myself, just to realize that people make mistakes.
Right.
And to get over it quickly, because oftentimes I think if we're looking at motivation and we say, well, you know, it didn't turn out the way that they wanted, but their heart was in the right place, their motivation was in a great place, but it just failed, then it's super easy to forgive people and to move on.
That's good. That's really good. And also, I really like on this too, that's really good because we've given you several views on what motivation could be in different scenarios. Social media, dealing with kids, relationships, our family, you know, not trying to perceive that maybe their motivation was sinister or something like that, but, but making it a teaching moment, and also for ourselves to say, you know, I'm not going to jump to the, you know, their motivation was bad, you know, in doing that. Maybe they just didn't have any regard that day, you know, and didn't think about it.
Because I think most people's motivation is good. You know, because for me, and I was going to say earlier that in order for me to be motivated, it has to be a good outcome. Like I have to be looking forward to better health or a cleaner house. I think that's how we all are.
Right.
You know, and then sometimes we get tripped up, in
definitely.
walking that out. But I think people get tripped up in relationships too. Like they didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
Right.
You know, or they didn't mean to exclude you.
Exactly.
You know, and you might feel that way. And I know that some other topics we're going to be talking about in the weeks to come talk about possibly being excluded, and you've talked about that before, I think in the ghosting.
Yep, in the ghosting episode.
One. And I think that we have to think about that in relationships where what was the motivation for that person? You know, did they mean to make me feel bad?
Right.
I really doubt that. You know, and I think my granny used to always say, people think a lot less about you than you think they do.
Right. That whole perception full of deception. I've said that a lot. I think we've had some other shows too. Our perception can be so full of deception that we perceive something one way and it's not anything like that. So if we're washing it through the Word and we're saying, is this pure? Is this lovely? Am I thinking on good things? Am I thinking the best of this person because I'm in relationship with this person? This person loves me. I don't really think that maybe they intended it, but maybe I have to have a conversation with them to say, hey, you kind of dished me in public, or you kind of, you know, you hurt my feelings with this, you know, that whole perception, deception, you know, kind of washing it, making sure our discernment doesn't cross into judgment. We were talking about that the other day in Divine Connections, you know, because we can have discernment, but, you know, make sure it's not crossing the little fine line into judgment. But the last thing on motivation here that this guy had, it was really cute, and he said for motivation, maybe you needed some motivation to get started in whatever, better sleep, exercise, better relationships, being more creative, whatever it is, tackling the garage, your closet, whatever it is you needed motivation for. He says, follow the Goldilocks rule.
I like this.
This is so cute. He says the Goldilocks rule, it states that, you know, nothing too hard, not too easy, just right. So not too hard, not too easy, just right. Because he says if we work on tasks adhering to this Goldilocks rule, then it says that it will maintain long-term motivation. Because if you find yourself feeling unmotivated to work on a task, it's usually because we've drifted into an area of boredom, or the task has been moved into an area of greater difficulty. You know, when that closet was just a little bit bad, it was bad. But when you get it like really bad, it's like, it's going to take a little bit more time. So he's saying, if you follow the Goldilocks rule, he said, then you'll find a way to pull your task back to the border of your abilities where you feel challenged, but capable still. Because I think that's where a lot of us, we feel like, oh my gosh, that's going to take a lot of time. You know, I mean, I think, you know, just health journey, it's like, oh my gosh, that's going to take a lot of hard work and things to get back where I was a few years ago. But, you know, I can't just jump on the treadmill and run 4 miles a day right now. So I have to make sure that my task is in my capable, you know, in the capabilities where I feel challenged, but I'm still capable.
And also successful.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because if you burn out too quick, then you're like, I'm not doing it.
Oh yeah,
I think that's how we give up.
So I don't know if I'm going to make this kind of fit in with what we're talking about, but I feel like I need to read this. Matthew 5:14, you are the light of the world, like a city on top of a hilltop that cannot be hidden. That was coming to me again with, I'm going back to the negative, the social aspect of it, but interactions, just that so many people want to put it out, stop your motivation. They want to, you know, stop you where you are.
Something. Yeah.
Especially if it's something good, for the, you know, the body, good for, you know, everything. And so nobody can put it out. Just
Right.
that reminder. I just needed to put that reminder out there.
That's good. Nobody can put it out because we're in charge of our motivation. Of course, the help with the Holy Spirit enables us to do what we couldn't do ourselves. And His, strength is made perfect in our weakness. But yeah, exactly. Nobody's in charge of our own motivation but us. Well, we hope that you have maybe found some new things and some new ways to look at motivation. Maybe you like this Goldilocks rule, but we just hope that you will come and hashtag share your view, hashtag ANew view, and tell us how you find motivation. What are your pre-game routines to keep you successful? Take care.